And purple. Oh, sorry. All right. It is now 4 o'clock, and the Municipal Facilities Committee meeting will come to order. The first agenda item is to approve the minutes for July 25th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Second is rental facilities discount resolution.
Thank you. So we're talking specifically about Resolution 1281, which was adopted by the City Council in 2014. So this issue came up as we're talking about the facilities department and looking at ways that we can make them revenue neutral. That was something that we were tasked with. And we continually run up against this resolution. The resolution provides a 20% discount to Des Moines residents on rentals of facilities. It also provides a 20%, 50%, and 70% discount to nonprofits for renting the city facilities. So we've attached this chart, which was the second attachment to the agenda item, which shows generally the organizations that receive these discounts, and you can see it's roughly about $40,000 to $50,000 a year in discounts. Those are specifically for the organizations. We don't have the numbers for city residents that receive discounts, but that's probably a sizable chunk as well for a 20% discount. So I guess our recommendation is just to repeal this resolution and have all organizations pay the rental amount until we can actually get enough revenue to cover our expenses. That would be the recommendation. A couple things to note. For the citizen discount, we're looking to get to a model where there's no subsidy. So if you're a Des Moines resident, you're not paying a portion of your property taxes isn't going to the city to run a failing rental business, right? The purpose of a subsidy would be, a 20% discount is because some of your tax money is going to pay for this, what the city's doing. We would like the facilities rental to be profit neutral or better, right? Because there are private organizations that run rental facilities and they make a lot of money off of it. And if they don't, they go out of business. But we've consistently lost money over the years because one, we like to give out discounts. It's nice, it's a good thing to do. But essentially what we're doing is then we're requiring Des Moines residents to subsidize private events or fundraisers, and really at some point you're subsidizing people's weddings, right? That we're losing money on. So anyway, that's where we're at. We're just providing this information, and turning it over to the committee for discussion.
Are you looking for a recommendation from us to bring it forth to council?
Yeah, certainly if there's questions, we can attempt to answer them, but this is a resolution, so in order to change it, we would need council approval. So if we're not going to bring anything forward to the council unless the committee gives us that recommendation.
Well, from my cost-cutting measures and revenue-generating list that requested, I suggested something very similar. I think we're in a situation where we definitely have to consider this, so I would support bringing it forward to the council. Understanding the community events and what they mean, unfortunately, especially with the levy being crucial to our budget, without it we definitely would need to repeal this. So I'm fine with bringing it forward to council.
Councilman Rock here.
Yes, thank you. Do we have any idea how much some of these organizations return to the city in regard to, grants or subsidies or anything like Blues and Brews, for example, and the Rotary, what kind of return are we getting via other?
Yeah, that's a valid question. I think, what is the city, like the city government, getting directly from Rotary is zero. And I think that's the same for all of these organizations. They certainly do great things in the city as a community. Like they support music programs for Highline School District. But essentially, so then that's the city giving benefits to Rotary, who is then giving benefits to the school district. So we don't receive any sort of funding directly from Rotary or Destination Des Moines or Burning Boat or the Farmers Market. There's certainly incidental benefits, of course. Some of these events still are required to pay for parking, although some of them get it for free. You might see an increase in frequenting restaurants downtown on specific nights. So there's, you could track that out somewhere, and that's we would call that the unquantifiable benefit. So we don't have those numbers, but direct contributions to the city would be zero.
Okay, and where are these monies coming from out of the budget? Are they out of the general fund, or are they out of the lodging tax, or just exactly where is this coming from?
So we fund our facility rentals through the general fund. And so these are just amounts that we're never receiving as revenue. So we have expenditures for staff, for building maintenance, all of that at a certain level, and then we would like to get our revenues up to that level. But we're seeing, about $50,000 less than what we can get to because we're giving out discounts. And then also, we weren't able to get the resident discounts, which is the 20% numbers. But that would be a significant number as well.
Okay, and have we shared this information with, any of these organizations? The one I'm looking at in particular is the Farmers Market.
We have not at the moment, no. But we will prior to any sort of council action.
Councilmember Ethan?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So my thoughts on the whole thing is, I think we should bring it forth to council to repeal it. I've had several contractors that have tried to rent our facilities that are willing to pay full price for a picnic for their entire company, and we're absolutely booked up. And if we're booked up with residents that are paying 20% less or 50% less, or other programs that are paying that, and we could get full price, I absolutely think we should be at least cost neutral, if not make money. It's a business. So those are my thoughts. Anybody else?
I think that we should, share the information first and get a response from these organizations. We may be in the position, the decision on some of this stuff is that we may be actually killing some of these organizations. So I think we then have to weigh the value of, what they're contributing to the city. Maybe not city government directly, but to the citizens of the city anyway, in the sense of this being a place that they know and love.
Yeah, and I get that. And I think what we're showing here is that the city is actually subsidizing these organizations. So, what may be an outcome of this is that organizations will recognize, like we're recognizing, that the way that we're operating is not sustainable, and that, maybe they could look at different ways to have their events that provide more revenue. to make them sustainable too. Because really, in the end, what this is telling us, for if they cannot survive without the city subsidizing them, it's that, you know, this is just another piece of the city budget. And so these are things that the council needs to consider when you're doing your budget, is do you want to set aside a certain amount of funds to support nonprofits? Because that's essentially what the council has been doing through these budgets every year.
Excuse me. Remind me again what percentage of the 10% sales tax that the city actually recognizes throughout the year? Is it?
It's very small. I think it's less than a cent, right?
It's just less than a cent.
Yeah. So 1% of the 10% sales tax.
Yeah, it's just
One
a little,
one
it's a
half
little
of
shy of
1%.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I thank you for bringing this forward. I mean, I appreciate the transparency, and I think it's a discussion that we, you know, as a community need to have. But seeing these numbers for the first time, this is, you know, all food for thought, and having a chance to, you know, sit down with these organizations, and we might be able to come up with an amicable, you know, resolution. So I appreciate the information. Thank you.
yeah, I mean, having conversations with them that the council's gonna consider repealing this ordinance is good. I think that they need to understand why. It is, I
Agreed.
mean, we're not in a normal time, you know, 20% increases in costs and 4% increase in revenue, with the expectation of all the other things we have to do. This is always what's been said. There's going to be difficult, hard choices that people aren't gonna like. And this is what, you've heard me from the dais on multiple occasions warn folks that this is the likely scenario when we have to make the hard choices. So I, you know, have any conversations with them, but I still think it just needs, it does need to come before council. I'm sure council members will have conversations with the organizations, and from the dais, we can discuss it and make a decision.
Yeah, that's great. And we'll send out notice to everyone that's received the organizational discounts to get those conversations started.
Perfect. Thank you.
So then, is there a timeline for bringing this back?
I mean, realistically, our really kind of projected date was to have it be effective January 1. So and if we don't meet that, we could, you know, we don't have a deadline really. So, I mean, we can send out the letters, start those discussions, and then if we can't do it in the budget process, we'll do it in January.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our second item, the rental facilities discount resolution. Now we're moving on to item number 3, marina paid parking financial update.
Thank you, Council. Mine will be probably a little bit shorter and kind of the opposite direction as we're talking about revenue here. But just the kind of final number right now, I ran these numbers today for the Marina Beach Park paid parking. We have accrued since June 3rd, $196,273. Just under 200,000.
Just out of curiosity, what was our budget for the revenue for this window of time? Do we have anything comparable? I know probably at the end of the month, Jeff could tell us, we thought we'd be here by then. I just want to know if we're ahead or behind.
I think we're actually doing really well. I think we are ahead of what we were when we implemented paid parking in 2017. So in 2017, we implemented it in, it was June or July. So we're pretty close when we have the June 3rd start date. I actually think it was right after the 4th of July. And I think we're ahead of what we were in that.
Is it possible at the finance committee meeting, maybe just to see where we're checked in against the budget at the month end?
Yeah.
Just not, it probably won't be exact, but give us a decent, like we're 4% ahead, we're 3%.
I think we're well above that. I mean, I want to say that our annual estimate was 250,000. and we're at
For the year?
yeah,
Wow.
and we're at
I'm
200,000, and we started mid-year, and we're not even at the end of the year yet. So, but we'll confirm that number with the finance committee next week. But I want to say it was 200,000. I mean, every time I've seen these numbers, I've been pleasantly surprised that, well, by a few things. The equipment's working well, and we're not getting complaints about the price of parking. I mean, we raised it a little bit, but all things considered in King County and waterfront parking, I mean, for a couple bucks, you know, it's a good deal. It's a really good deal. I mean, I think we could go higher, but
Yeah, there was, I thought it was about $175,000 a year we were bringing in, if I recall right, when
Previously.
the other system, but there was a lot of ways for people to work around it, and then, of course, the gates were frequently broken and stuff, and open and so forth, so that, you know, we probably lost a lot of money that way, so I don't see that here, you know.
The
Very good.
system itself is operating phenomenally. The issues that we had previously were mostly system related. Issues we are having now are people related. So
Really?
more
What kind of,
running into the gate, lifting of the arm, breaking the mechanism, that sort of thing. So it's not the system itself.
Yeah.
It's a great system.
Backing up slightly to the previous discussion item is for the farmer's market, I know that 2 hours of parking is subsidized for that. Is that included in the subsidy figures on the previous discussion?
no,
Okay.
that's just for the facility rental.
And do we have any figures then on how much parking we're subsidizing for the market?
I do, yes, for the market itself. They're around $10,000
For the season?
for the season, up until now.
Okay. And do we have any projections as far as revenue that will be produced in the Redondo zone with the
With the
completion of the restrooms and the installation of parking, paid parking?
I don't have those numbers with me right now, but we can, I would bet whatever we've done previously will exceed, because not everybody, the enforcement down there is not as much, and so I think the revenues down at Redondo will be skyrocketing compared to what they are now.
And do those go, do those monies stay specifically in the Redondo zone, or are they in
Yes.
the, okay? And those money, and what is those funds are used for what?
To maintain the Redondo area.
Maintain the Redondo zone, okay. Thank you.
is that it?
That was it, mine's short.
Is it anything else?
I don't have anything.
All right, well, it looks like we're at the end of the meeting. Looking for a move to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, staff, for all your hard work.